You wake up not to an alarm clock, but to an impact that makes the walls shake and the ceiling crumble. In that moment, you don't yet understand what's happening, but your body already knows this is not normal. A second later, another explosion, then screams, sirens, car alarms. The signal is gone. The internet is dead. And one thought appears in your head. It started. And now, the main question. Do you know what to do right now? In the first minutes when your survival is decided? Or will you freeze like thousands of others, hoping it will just end? War gives no second chances. It punishes every second of hesitation. And if you're not ready, you've already lost. The first minutes are the most dangerous because you're still living in the old reality. You think everything will stabilize, that it's far away, that it won't affect you. But war doesn't choose. It just arrives and breaks everything. And in this exact moment, most people make a fatal mistake. They do nothing. Your task is to snap out of shock instantly. Don't stand still. Don't stare out the window. Don't endlessly check the news. Get up and start moving. Every action must be deliberate because you only have a few minutes before things get worse. The first thing you do is gather a basic survival kit. Documents, phone, charger, water, any food, a first aid kit. Don't think too long. Don't choose. Take whatever is within reach and put it together. This is not preparing for a trip. This is a fight for your life. You need to understand that in an hour, you might not have access to anything. No water, no electricity, no stores. Everything you have right now is your only resource. And if you miss this moment, it will be too late later. Now comes the hardest decision. Stay or run. And there is no universal answer. If you hear explosions nearby, if there's shelling, the street becomes a trap. But if chaos starts in the city, if armed people appear, your home stops being safe too. The most dangerous strategy is waiting. People wait because they're afraid to make the wrong choice. But in war, the mistake is inaction. You must analyze and decide quickly, even if it feels terrifying. Because fear is normal, but paralysis is death. Imagine you decided to stay. You think you'll wait it out, that everything will pass you by. And suddenly, an impact near your house. Glass explodes inward. The air becomes hot and heavy. You fall to the floor and realize you are no longer in control. And in that moment, it hits you. You are not ready. You don't know where to hide, where to run, what to do next. And there's no time left to learn. So the next question becomes critical. Where do you hide to stay alive when everything around you is collapsing? Shelter is not just a place where you feel safer. It is the difference between life and death. The safest place is a basement or bunker, because the ground absorbs shockwaves and shrapnel. The deeper you are, the higher your chances of survival. If that's not available, find interior rooms without windows. A bathroom, hallway, storage room, any walls between you and the outside increase your chances. Glass is your enemy. It turns into thousands of blades in a fraction of a second. The dumbest thing you can do is walk up to a window. People do it automatically, out of curiosity, trying to understand what's happening. And that's exactly when the second strike hits. War gives no warnings. It strikes when you relax. If you're outside, your chances are even lower. Any open space is a risk. You must instantly find cover or drop to the ground, covering your head with your hands. Don't run blindly. Don't scream. Don't panic. Any sudden movement makes you vulnerable. When you've taken cover and the first shock fades, another reality sets in. Silence. But it's not calm. It's a pause before the next Udar. And in that moment, you start to understand that the problem is only beginning. There's no connection. News is fragmented. No one knows what's coming next. And now you're alone with the situation. Instincts are no longer enough. You need a cold mind and an understanding of how to survive long term. You survived the first hours. You hid. You avoided the strike. But now the real nightmare begins. Water runs out. Food disappears. Stores are empty. People change right before your eyes. And now the real question. How do you avoid dying not from an explosion, but from hunger, thirst, and other people's desperation? Because that's what breaks most people. The first thing you must understand. Water is more important than food. You can survive without food, but not without water. So every container must be filled. Bottles, pots, even the bathtub. This is your time reserve, your chance to last longer. Food must be rationed. Small portions, no overeating. You don't know when your next meal will be. Every extra bite now is one less day of life later. Going out for food is a risk, but sometimes there's no other choice. You must assess the situation. If you hear gunfire, if there's movement, stay. If it's quiet, move fast and stay unnoticed. The most dangerous factor is other people. Hunger changes behavior. People start fighting for resources and rules disappear. You must be careful, avoid attention, and trust no one without reason. When resources run out, the question arises: leave. It's the hardest decision because you're leaving some form of safety for the unknown. But sometimes it's the only way to survive. You need to move light. Minimum weight, maximum speed. This is not a hike. This is a danger zone. Every extra kilogram reduces your endurance and your chances of reaching safety. It's better not to go alone. A group increases chances, but also adds risks. There must be trust, understanding of who is with you. One person's panic can endanger everyone. Your route must be planned. You can't just walk forward blindly. You must know where you're going, where you can stop, where danger lies. War does not forgive random decisions. The hardest part is not physical, it's mental. Fear builds up, it presses down, it breaks you. People start making mistakes because they can't handle the pressure. You must maintain control. Break everything into steps. Don't think about tomorrow. Think about what needs to be done now. Small decisions are what keep you alive. War doesn't test strength, it tests stability. It doesn't matter how physically prepared you are. What matters is whether you can keep a clear mind. Because in chaos, the one who doesn't lose control wins. And in the end, only one question remains. When it happens, will you be ready to act? Or will you become another person who hoped it would never reach them? When you're already moving, or still surviving in a destroyed city, the realization comes. The normal world is gone. There are no rules, no provisionae logica, no guarantees. Every sound makes you tense. Every silhouette looks like a threat. And this is when people begin to lose focus. You must hold on to simple things: movement, shelter, control. Don't allow yourself to relax even for a second, because war doesn't end when it gets quiet. It just changes form. And it's in this quiet phase that most people die. At night, it becomes even more dangerous. Darkness gives a sense of cover, but at the same time makes you blind. You don't see who's near. You don't understand where danger may come from. Every sound turns into fear. If you move at night, move slowly. Without light, listen. If you stay, make no unnecessary noise. Light, sound, talking, all of it can attract attention. War is when even your breathing feels too loud. Imagine you think the worst is already behind you. You survived the strikes, you found water, you lasted for days. And then, footsteps behind the door. Not rescuers, not friends. And in that moment, you realize the danger is no longer just outside. It's right next to you. And the main question changes. How do you protect yourself when the threat is standing right in front of you? Contact with other people is always a risk. You don't know who they are, what they want, what state they're in. In war, even an ordinary person can become dangerous. You must keep distance, not reveal your resources, not show fear. Calmness is your protection. People sense weakness, and in extreme conditions, it can cost you everything. If confrontation is unavoidable, your goal is not escalation, it's survival. Any conflict is a risk, even if you're right, even if you're stronger. Sometimes it's better to step back, lose part of your resources, but stay alive. Because in war, there are no winners in small conflicts, only those who live to see the next day. Over time, exhaustion builds up. You don't sleep properly, you're constantly tense, your body is at its limit, and fatigue becomes the cause of mistakes. You must find time to rest, even if it feels impossible. A short sleep, a pause, a moment to reset. It's not weakness, it's survival. Without it, you won't last long. Days pass, maybe a week. You stop counting time. You live moment to moment. And then a thought appears. What if this lasts long? Not hours, not days, months. And everything changes. Because surviving a day is one thing. Surviving a new reality is something else entirely. And this is where the real test begins. You must adapt. Stop waiting for it to end soon. Start thinking strategically. Where to get water regularly, how to find food, where it's safer to stay. Improvisation is no longer enough. You need a system. Every action must have a purpose. You're no longer just reacting. You're rebuilding your life in a world where nothing is familiar. Your surroundings become critical. The people around you can either help you survive or pull you down. Small groups form, unspoken rules appear. And here, you must understand, trust becomes the most valuable resource and the most dangerous one. A mistake in choosing can cost you everything. At some point, you stop being the person you were before. Fear dulls, reactions get faster, decisions become harsher. It's not good or bad, it's adaptation. And here comes the final question. When everything collapses, when the world becomes chujim I opasnim, will you accept the new rules and survive? Or will you break, clinging to a life that no longer exists?